everybody tells you the stories. He was one of the first guys, at least that they say, started advertising on the billboards everywhere.
Yeah.
And people thought he was kind of
Definitely
crazy.
dominates it.
And now he's pretty dominant in the industry.
Yeah.
There's a couple of the lawyers that are pretty dominant with it too now. And it's like, well, just, as a mold inspector, I'm like one of the very few in the game. So but no one knows it exists, right?
Sure.
But like, what if I just throw some billboards up like that and see if it works?
So you were doing actual billboards?
Oh, yeah.
Not just kiosk.
No, right by Tanger Mall, I-10, I-12. I do the kiosk.
So you met Morris Bard and he was talking? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He probably passed him in the hall at one of his offices when I was doing an inspection.
Yeah.
And it just kind of clicked to me. I was like, I could do that too. And so I looked into it, got a little more.
Yeah, of course.
Did it. And it's like, well, but you didn't get a lot of calls directly from the billboard. Yeah, but everybody kind of knows who I am now and what I do around here.
Yeah.
And that awareness is huge.
Yeah.
So I see why people do it.
That credibility, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the kiosk that we have in Perkins Row, I always say I don't really get a ton of phone calls from it. It's not like people are just, this guy does mortgages and they see it. But when they see it, it builds that credibility. They're like, someone is paying money to have you here, right? Like something's like you got to be making money somewhere to have this, and people, of course, will roll out a bin 77 on a Saturday night and want to take a picture next to it. And I get a lot of those. And that's huge because that's what it's there for. It's not necessarily for somebody just to call, which, hey, we love calls too, but it's more like, hey, John's over there, and, they stumble out and call us. So, but Isaiah, I think you're ready for us? All right, good deal. Awesome, man. Well, so I'm sitting here with Jason Fontenot, the mold man.
Mold man, yes, sir.
And Jason's been in my fantasy football league for a number of years now. And,
how long has it been? God. We're telling our age a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Several years now, and we're actually probably gonna lose to him this week.
He probably is.
Got a couple guys tonight that I'm done. But no, Jason's great. Been in the Baton Rouge area for a while. Went to school here as well.
LSU, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's been a tough year for our Tigers.
I didn't know we were gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, it's but I think being local, you kind of know this area well, this market well. How'd you get into the mold inspection industry?
Oh, man, well, it didn't start out that way. You go to college, get a job, and you just do what you got. You just take a job somewhere. But as I was working at chemical plants and stuff like that, I started realizing there was a lot of need for mold inspectors and some of the stuff they were saying, that they read off the internet just didn't add up. And I was like, there's a lot of lack of knowledge in this space.
Sure.
And so if I, a little bit that I know probably go a long way.
Yeah.
And so I delved into a little bit, dive into it a little bit more, and really got the credentials I needed to go do that. And I just started doing it, after work type of deal. People got off of work, I go to the house, help them out. I found out I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And so I went full
stream. What year did you start?
Oh, gosh. I started the business probably maybe about 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
But, I was doing some of this a long time ago before, in between jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
But not full-time. Like full-time.
Right.
And what I found out is that, I was able to go in there and help people understand mold, how bad it is, how not bad it is, not to panic.
And how not bad it is, I think, is a key component of that, because everyone over – what they don't know is what bothers people, right? And so they go into their house and they see something and they don't know how, you hear your mom and your grandma, like if they see black somewhere, they're like, you're going to have asbestos or something, right? And then they all freak out. So sometimes it's not necessarily just fixing the mold, right? Just to kind of squash some of those fears that a lot of people have.
95% of the time when people call me, and I guess I shouldn't give that statistic out, but 95%
right.
of the time it's not nearly as big as what they think it is.
Yeah.
And it's
but that peace of mind you offer them by going in there.
Very easily solvable problem. We're not talking tens of thousands of dollars type of thing, And I think giving that peace of mind is probably the rewarding part of it.
Yeah. Right.
But what I also found out is doing this, that's how it started, right? It started helping people with fears of mold and helping them understand that. But, and today I find out that like 25% of my calls at least is people wanted to know, is there mold in the home when I'm going to buy it?
Yeah.
And it's been growing because ever since that 2016 flood,
right?
And we have a hurricane every other year now.
Sure, right.
With damage, and people are scared that when they go buy a home that someone's going to hide the damage.
Yeah,
and they're not going to tell them something, and they just don't know what they don't know. And buying a home is some of the biggest purchases in their life. So
right. Yeah.
they don't want to go out there and make a, $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 investment to a mold home. And then they got to live there. They're stuck. They can't get out of it,
Right. So do they call you at that point? Like, so you talk to people before they purchase and obviously after they purchase.
Yeah. And usually they give me in that inspection period of time, that window, that 14 days, usually or 10 days. That people having to go in there and look, and I run some tests and look at it and either getting the peace of mind, like, hey, no, you're fine. Or maybe you shouldn't purchase this property.
Yeah. So you probably saved some people from buying houses that maybe they would have been okay with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which is huge.
I wouldn't say it's the majority of the time, but there's been some situations definitely where I've caught some things that you can't expect the home inspector to find everything. I know everybody thinks that I sent the home inspector in, they're going to check everything. They're one individual person.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know. Right. They don't know every bit of everything in the world. Believe it or not, they're not all knowledgeable.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So you have to have some experts.
And they're not specific, I think that's a key component. Like they're kind of a jack of all trades, but they'll be the first, I think, to tell you, like, hey, I'm not, get a mold guy. I don't really know this, or I don't know gutters. They know enough to be dangerous, but they're not necessarily experts in those fields.
That's correct. They're not really. Usually, they're not experts in that field. And and it's not a knock on them. If I'm going to buy a home, I'm going to get a home inspector to go look at it, even though I'm in homes inspecting them 8 times a day.
Yeah.
But they know things that I don't know. I know things they don't know.
Right.
And so when people are really concerned about that, like I said, I'm able to go in there and find out, is this an issue or is this not? Can I buy this home?
Right.
Not? Or even like, you might have a little problem. How much would it cost?
Right.
To get it fixed?
Right.
And I'm able to kind of give my ballpark of what that. Hey, you're looking at a $100 problem. You're looking at a $3,500 problem, or
right.
There's some houses down the street for sale.
Yeah, right. And I think that's a big benefit to a new buyer or just any buyer, right? Because they don't know what they don't know. So when they call you, get in touch with you, then all of a sudden they get into that house. It's like you said, most of the time you're squashing their fears. It's not as big of a deal as it was. Well, that's a big win, I'm just being able to squash the fears. Like you said, yes, it's an obvious win when you find something, you're like, hey, you might not want to buy this, or it's going to be a $10,000 problem. But the majority of the time, if you're just squashing fears, then that gives them that, hey, okay, now I can tell my mom, I can tell my grandma, we're good.
It's everybody's wife. You got new kids, newborn. I mean, they're like, I think the wives are put there to be concerned about those type of things. A lot of us, as a man, they're not the ones calling me all the time.
Right.
But it's the women they're concerned. Yes, and a lot of times they're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably most of the time they're right. Okay.
It's that sixth sense.
They have an idea of what's there that some of us, as men, a lot of times disregard. So I would say majority of my calls are from women, and they're right. Let's go.
Right. Is this an issue? Because everything was, underwater. And then obviously the hurricane stuff that no matter what will always be a part of where we live. And so you're kind of able to go in there in both instances and say, hey, like I said, this is good, or your wife's right. Like there is a problem here.
Well, it's not only that. It's like, a lot of times they'll say, oh, we had 1 inch of water, or we had it fixed. And then you start questioning things. Well, how did you have it fixed? Did they have it fixed properly? Did they get the right mold remediation, water ratio, and experts in there? Or do they call him down the street and not do all the work they're supposed to?
Right.
And I'm able to look in certain places in the home and find out what kind of job they really did.
Yeah.
Or didn't do.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't consider that. Well, and for people buying a house too, it helps with the negotiation part, because if they find something they know they have to put money into, then they can go back and renegotiate and say, hey, that full price offer I was giving you, I need to come off it a little bit, or hey, full price offer, I need $5,000 towards this mold work. But it's something they catch up front for a relatively minor expense, to get you out there. And then, like you said, peace of mind, and they know what they're getting into.
You bring up an interesting point. The more I think about it, I probably saved a lot more money on that renegotiation. But what I charge them, I need to think about if I need a cut off renegotiation fee or some kind of contract. Deal, I don't know. But no, you're right. I mean, when I come in there and I tell them, hey, it's going to be about a $5,500 repair, I'm sure they go back to the negotiation and say, okay, this is what they say.
This is what they said,
And a lot of times I probably just, well, go ahead. I knew it was a problem, but
and on the lending side, that's where I see everything, right? Because we don't see what you guys do up front. We just see, the issues afterwards. And so they'll come back to us and they'll say, hey, I know we were under contract, but now my buyer either wants this fix or they want to walk, and we'll kind of figure it out like, okay, well, is it something that can be done right now? Does it need to be done right now? Because inspection is something that we don't require on our side. Believe it or not, we have an appraisal that we require.
Yep.
So that's how we protect ourselves. But the inspection protects the buyer. And right now, the buyers, it's a tough market. People are looking at houses and all the stuff that goes into it. And we don't want to give any reason to walk that we don't have to, right? So again, somebody like you comes in and takes care of that and squashes it for us, or they, hey, yes, there's an issue with leaking and there was mold there from years back, and now we know it's a $2,000 deal. We can renegotiate it, and that's where realtors, a strong realtor comes in, renegotiates it for it, helps that buyer out. So again, squashes that issue, hopefully, whether there's problems or not.
And those are all additional things that I think your line that you take care. You take care of that for us, right? I mean, that's your line of work.
Yeah. Well, definitely, man. Well, also, we were able to jump in and kind of help you out with a refinance here recently.
Help me out. That's a nice term. I mean, it was unreal. Okay, so I guess I'll tell these people watching this. Okay, so I got married 3 years ago.
Right.
And first thing you do is, I got to buy a home because I didn't want her to come live in a place that I was already living in, and vice versa. So we got to make our lives together.
That's right. Start fresh.
I'm a financial guy. I have some discipline and stuff, but you get married, you got to do what you got to do. So I bought a home, and of course, it was not the best interest rate time to buy.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that type of guy to say, okay, I'm gonna just hold out and wait and let her live somewhere, or me live somewhere I don't want to live. And I'm not gonna do that. You get married, you make some. You got to do.
You got to do it. Yeah. Right. Okay. Right.
So I jump in a home, and and it was a higher interest rate than I wanted, but it is what it is. But I was telling myself, don't worry about it. You'll just refi.
Right.
You'll just refi.
Right. What year did you buy? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
2022.
You were in a spicy market.
Yeah,
to say the least.
It was up there.
Yeah.
Got a standard 30 year. It's like I'm gonna refi, and of course the rates just did not drop.
You kept waiting.
Yeah. Man, I was watching the news every day. It's like, we ever getting a rate drop?
Yeah.
And it just.
And you're one of those guys, like, you're on it. You're not one of those that like doesn't know. You're in the know.
I'm looking at my accounts, my money, what's going on. I'm a business guy. I look at that every day. I know my numbers.
Yeah.
I can tell you everything what's in the account, what's coming out, when, where, where.
Right.
Go get it. Talk to someone on the phone. They direct me to someone else. And start this process. And you pull all these documents, do this, take your blood, all these type of things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Finally get to the point to where we're about to close this thing, and they kind of messed up on a big portion of it, and it didn't go through.
Yeah.
And
which happens a lot, unfortunately.
And I couldn't believe it. Being with the credit I built up, the income, waiting to have this moment.
Right.
And it just didn't go through. And I was like, well, surely my bank could help me out. I've been with it for 20 years. I business bank with them. I do personal banking with them. I've taken car loans.
Slack or something. Yeah.
There's got to be somebody I can talk. No. That's when I realized what I already knew. I just didn't believe it. Is that it doesn't matter how many years you've been with your bank. You're just a number.
Yeah.
There's no personal relationships there. That kind of stuff doesn't exist. I think I was brought up in the 80s, so I thought that kind of stuff existed.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't exist.
Because our parents think that still exists, so that's
exactly.
where we get it
so
from.
We're taught that way.
Right.
I don't want to go into the stories, but my father used to sell insurance. He'd go to your house at 6 o'clock with a briefcase and sit at the kitchen table for 2 hours.
That's right.
And
have dinner with you.
Have dinner with you, exactly.
Right.
It's just not like that today. And the banks don't really,
it's
know who you are.
Yeah.
And so, and I was like, well, I'm kind of dumb. I was like, I've been playing fantasy football with John forever.
Yeah.
He's a lender. He's on a kiosk. I see him next to me.
Right.
It's like, why did I go
kiosk
to him?
buddies.
So, and obviously I went to you, and it was pretty seamless. Click something here in my email. Click something here in my email. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I'm going from a 30-year fixed mortgage to a 15-year fixed, paying the same amount.
Yeah.
My mortgage.
Right. Anyway, obviously we appreciate portion of our age group that doesn't they don't want to have the physical, conversation
Uh,
or the face to face or just whatever. Now there's another portion of our age group that that's all they want, right?
yeah.
They're dying to have that because everything's been automated online, and so we get a lot of those guys that try to go online, can't do it, try to go to their bank, can't do it, and a lot of times it's stuff that they just don't. These other lenders, they're not trained into to problem areas, right? And they don't know how to overcome certain things that is, I don't want to say it's not anything, but it's stuff that takes a little bit more time, a little bit more.
No, he didn't check the box, so I'm just going to cancel this.
That's right. That's
Try to
right.
find another way to get it done.
Yeah, and they try to get low hanging fruit, right? And
Right.
then they go to the next person, and it's like, hey, if you had just put another set of eyes on this, we probably could have got it done, And right now that refi season has been big for us because rates have changed
Oh, yeah.
pretty drastically. Like you said, able to go back to a 15-year.
Same price drop 15 years off my payment. I mean,
Get a
that's-
much better rate.
Yeah.
Obviously, wife's happy about that. So
She probably don't care, but
right?
whatever. The bills are paid, right?
That's right. That's
Um,
right. Hey, yeah, that's right. It makes it easier. From our standpoint, though, like you're waiting, and I'm looking at the markets every day, of course, too, just like you. So we're like waiting, and you want to tackle it. So for us, it's important to get on the fence, refinance potential buyers to give us a call early on because we want to make sure that, hey, when the rates do drop, it might not be when the Fed's cut, it might be a couple weeks before it, right? It might be a couple weeks after it, but we want to make sure we can jump on it and have all their information because if not, then we might miss that dip,
Look, I'll tell the people home, he's talking about how some people prefer to go the automated route instead of having building a relationship. And if you want to make money, you need to build relationships.
100%.
And that
Yeah.
includes your lender. I learned this. I couldn't tell you out of that 2-month process I tried to go through, trying to get my refi done in my bank that I've been with forever. I couldn't tell you one person's name that I work with.
Wow. Yeah. Right.
But you go there. I know it's John Patton. I come here. I'm talking to John Patton. I see John Patton.
Right.
I know who to go to. He's going to try to help me out the best he can. He wants to make the deal. I want to make the deal.
That's right.
And get it done.
Right.
You're not going to go into your bank and sit down with J.P. Morgan Chase.
That's right.
Okay. He's not going to come meet you there, get you some coffee,
Right,
and you're
right,
going to sit down
right.
and hash it out.
Yes.
No, it's
Yes.
going to be Susie, Cheryl, John, Mike, and they're going to transfer you to someone else in someone else's department.
Right, right.
And there's, like you said, it's a shotgun approach for them. Low-hanging fruit. It's like, why would you do that when it comes to your personal finances, your personal income? You better have a personal approach.
That's right. That's right.
And
yeah.
knowing this going forward, like I'm gonna do that as many things financially as possible. I want that person I can talk to.
That's right. Yeah.
And you can find a lot more help that way.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Relationships, in your industry, in my industry, in all industries, in business, and matter. And no matter how automated we get, I think, no matter how online we get, I think, you're starting to kind of get kickback now where people are kind of tired of going on the phone and waiting for 30 minutes just to get somebody to answer to tell them something they already knew, and people want a live person. And it's so hard. Like you go and get like credit card help right now and you call that 800 number. It's like you're waiting forever to just get on the phone, and it's a pain. And, I always tell people, even with us, they do business with us and they make a payment, if they're having issues, to call me up and we'll kind of bridge that gap. We're not going to always be able to have all the answers, but I can help them find an answer after we close. And that means something to us because, you're not going to get that from an online, you're not going to get that from a bank. Your bank's going to just keep transferring you back and forth. And I don't care whatever happens in business. Relationships are key, and that's something that I think, going forward, is important to us, to make sure that our clients are happy, but also to make sure that, hey, my feet are held to the fire. Because guess what? Not only do I have to see you for fantasy football every year, but I got to make sure that I'm saying what I promise you, right? Because if not, it's not like I just can avoid my phone. Like, my location, my local address. And that's what's kind of interesting now with the banking world is that what our parents looked at in the banking and even like medical field is like, oh, this is my lifelong dentist, which is nothing wrong with that. If you can have that, but it's probably, if you do have it, it's because you have a relationship, not because you were just told to do it. There's some type of relationship there. And now we've kind of developed where we're that mom and pop shop, where we're
cycles back like that.
That's right. That's right. So it's like a lot of people are like, oh, I just, I miss those days of that banking where my banker knew, oh, guess what? When you have a loan with us, that's us. Like we're going to slide in there and be that for you because it matters. And we're going to be accountable Michigan and Ohio down to a buyer here, and the buyer's like, "Hey, I can't get him on the phone. He promised me 1%. I don't, you know." And it's like, well, now he promised you he doesn't have to face the facts, you know.
This must be the younger generation. I don't understand.
Yeah,
Doing these things, and I hope that they learn quick that kind of stuff. It feels good, be automated and stuff like that. Do things quick,
right.
but it's not the best for you when it comes to financial matters.
Yeah,
and you need to treat all your financial matters with personal relationships. That's going to be the best thing for you and your family. And I just hope that if that's truly what they're doing, like what you're saying, like I could not imagine trying to do something like that online where with that kind of money.
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
just at a click, like, oh no, but I read it here though. It says it here, you know. Yeah, we get a lot of that, and that's why we try to get a
what are you going to do when you
going
have a
on.
problem?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're gonna go online and complain about it?
That's right.
That goes nowhere.
Gonna go to the Yelp of lending.
Right,
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't hold much weight, and I think the generation is smartening up to that and waking up to that. It just like anything else, you almost have to swing one way really far to swing back. It's like if I was to go online and start typing in, mold services and talk to some guy out of state because he was $1 cheaper, and it's like, guess what? Yeah, this guy's not even physically here to look at my problem.
It's true. Well, they do. They do that. Believe it or not.
Yeah, that's sad, man. Like, and then I'm sure they call you up and they already tell you what's wrong with the house, right? Like, they're like, hey, I looked it up. It's this color green, so I had this.
Well, I don't want to go up to how many follow-up inspections I have to do behind another mold inspector.
Yeah,
it's already been there, and they get I have to pay again. I'm like, well, you should hire me first.
Yeah, right.
But they don't know what they don't know.
They don't, unfortunately. And, and I was talking to a realtor earlier about this, not all realtors are the same. There's some exceptional realtors, and there's some realtors that might mail it in and not really need a check. Same with my industry, same with your industry. I mean, just business as, but the average buyer, myself included for certain things, you think that, I'll just call up the cheapest, or I'll just call up the one that's, that my uncle told me. And it's like, do a little research, and that's why it's good to have, I think, dialogue like this, because people can learn that, hey, these things do matter. And, there's always going to be somebody out there that claims to be cheaper, no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah, I don't know if really going for the cheapest is always the best.
Yeah, you're right.
A good balance of that is probably the best.
Well, the problem with the cheapest in business world is that, unfortunately, there's a lot of people lying. So, in our world, they put it on paper, and then in fine print, they show what the real fees are, and it's, and then the person sees that original, rate, and they're like, oh, well, I thought it was 1.5% right now. And we're like, it's not quite that low. We're lower than we've been, and which is a great, move for us. But
yeah, Bill, I mean, I imagine like the integrity and trust part of your business is pretty significant, because someone's gonna have to trust in it. Because I mean, in any lending situation, from what I've seen, or dealing with a mortgage, the state or maybe the federal government, and you tell me, there's 1,000 documents we gotta click and sign.
Yeah.
Do I know every bit of all of this?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I should.
Right,
do I? No. Do I trust that the guy's got integrity enough to not, write some extra number in there at the very end and I lost my soul? No, I mean,
and one thing, like learning from our parents, one thing they always, I think, instill, besides, going to a banker, right, is to actually get a professional, right? And I could Google mold all day long, but talking to you and you coming and seeing it in the physical is going to be way different than any Google search I can do, right? And same thing with us, when someone actually talks to us and we can break down a loan estimate for them and show them on paper why what they saw online might not make sense, just somebody with just a little acuteness can figure out, hey, this sounds bogus, And
it sounds crazy even where we're at. I mean, even during our process to refine, there's a couple terms I didn't understand, and I try to go to ChatGPT, go to Grok, whatever.
Right.
But it still doesn't compare to just saying, hey, John, what the hell is this?
Yeah, right.
That's a lot easier.
Yeah. Being able to text me or call me, I think, is a big deal. And look, we may not have the answers 100% of the time, because there's a lot of compliance stuff sometimes, but we're gonna find an answer. We're gonna make sure that you're comfortable before you go and sign the dotted line. So. Well, Jason, man, great having you here, man, and being able to talk to us, man.
Appreciate you,
brother.
No problem.
Hope we can continue to grow together.
Yep, sounds good, man.
Awesome, man. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Good job, dude. Good job, man.
Good enough.